Now, even before we go to high school, there are a few things I've just remembered. And um, when I remember things like going through puberty also was a challenge because I didn't even know what was happening and I didn't have anyone to talk me through it. Because unaona kama I was living with my grandfather and my two older brothers. So I'm not even talking about getting to menstruation and things of that sort. I'm talking about starting to sweat and starting to smell like something that was dead. Things things like that. I didn't know what was happening with my body and I didn't have someone to guide me through it. So when I talk about challenges of growing up in that environment, keep in mind these are the challenge, like the trivial things that you think are normal and people tell each other, I didn't know. So unapata, even the lucky thing is, I think God has been walking ahead of me since everything happened, even before I knew myself. Because when I was the week I got my first period, let's say like I got it on a Thursday or Friday. Let's say I got it then. This teacher came and her name was, I'll call huyo lazima niseme jina yake, wenye wametoka Ndarago wanamjua. Her name was Mrs. Getao. She came to our class and she was teaching us how to go about putting a pad on your panties and how to get like your process yote, how to go buy a pad, what type of pads are the best for you, the different types. Sijui kuna cotton, kuna nylon na nini. She came with them and she was talking us through it and she taught us how to put it on the panty, how to wear it when it's dirty and everything, how to get it off and how to fold it and throw it away. To date, I still follow that process. But the week before my period came in, Mrs. Getao came and did all that. I didn't even realize it was that important because I had never gotten my period, of course. So tell me why that Friday, I think it was a Thursday or a Friday, but I'm thinking it was more of a Friday or a Saturday. That end of week, tell me why my periods came. The good thing is they came at night, but they came that week. They came, and I was still under the orphanage, and for them, I think also they thought someone had already taken care of that because I was in class 8 na things of that sort. By then, most girls have either started their first period or they had someone who was talking them through how to go about that. So me too niliamka and I realized I was having my period and I talked to the staff that was taking care of us and they gave me the pad. They didn't even tell me ati mtu anafanya hivi na hivi na hivi. They just gave me the pad because they thought I knew. And luckily, that's why I'm saying luckily, Mrs. Getao had taught us how to go about that. So I did whatever, and and everything was fine. But now when I'm talking hata nikikatika and I say a lot of arms, it's because every time I remember something else that I had forgotten during that period. I uncover a memory that I didn't realize I had forgotten. So to these are the challenges I was having as a child. Like a lot of people didn't give you that priority or attention to that extent. So you didn't even know something was wrong until you got into the point where you don't have assistance over something. But luckily, on issues that mattered, issues that were heavy, God was taking care of it. Keep learning. So, and like I said, it was a lucky situation because Mrs. Getao had never done that with our class ever. And remember, a lot of girls were getting their periods in class 6, 7, and 8. Hii tumefika hadi class 8 ndio Mrs. Getao is coming to tell us how to go about it. Anyway, back to my story now. Sasa nimeingia high school and I'm still a lost person I'm still aggressive, I'm still rude, I'm still um, very stubborn, of course. And even then, you don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. Tukaingia form 1, life was fine. We got to form 2, life was still okay. You're trying to navigate it. You're trying to, I was in things like drama, music, journalism club. Like, you're trying to do a lot of things. What I didn't realize until later was I was doing a lot of things to cover, to not have that opportunity where I'd have my thoughts to myself. Like, I was running away from something without realizing I was actually running away from something. Then nikiwa form 2, towards the end of form 2, I think that's when my brain started now loading properly. Hapo ndio nilianza kuona maybe something is not making sense. There are things that these other girls that I'm with know about life, about themselves, that I don't know. But sasa unajiambia tu ni ile because you don't have a mom to teach you. That is what is happening. So one evening I was coming from class, and our class was opposite the home science. Ilikuwa inaitwa lab ya home science, and they were doing their practicals for KCSE, and they were dressed so nicely. You looked at them and they looked like tiny chefs. So I'm coming out of class and I'm looking at them and I'm like, what does home science entail? What are you taught in home science? And nikajiambia, what I'll do, I'll go look into, hiyo time nilikuwa watu walikuwa wameshachagua units na nini, so I was doing computer, so I had access to the computer lab. I'll go look into what home science is and what people do, like the importance of home science. Usually like before I went to the lab, I was standing there looking at them, and I felt this would have been the right choice. I wouldn't have done computer science, I would have done home science. Anyway, so the next day after I went to the computer lab and I went through what home science is, nikaona wanafunza basically what I thought it was, ama what I gathered from the information was home science was like a mother teaching their child about the home and what to do, how to knit your clothes, how to cook for people, how to do first aid, things of that sort. And in my head, vile tu nasema, it felt like a mom teaching their daughter things that were quite important. So the next day, what I did, I went to the home science lab and I found the teacher, alikuwa anaitwa sijui Mrs. Who. I found her and I talked to her. Like I said, it was towards the end of the year. So they were doing KCSE prep. She didn't have a lot of time. So I told her I wanted to join home science. And she was like, but people, like the year has already gone. People had already made their choices. Like now, why would you want? Nikamwambia, no, I want to join home science. I'm thinking it's going to benefit me in a lot of ways. And what she did, she gave me um the textbooks for Form 1 and Form 2 and told me, if you really want to join, so you guys are going on holiday, if you really want to join home science, itabidi ujifunze hizo miaka mbili. And I was like, it's fine, I'll go teach myself. So mi nikaenda na nikaambia mode wa com science, I'm dropping computer science, I'm officially going to join home science. And she was like, it's fine, we'll go on holiday and then you'll come back and let us know how it goes. So I joined home science, and fortunate enough, it was exactly what I thought it was. Because things like laundry, how to do laundry, we used to fua nguo, but you don't know how to do it right. We used to cook, we used to do, but you don't know how to do it the right way. And I was tired of feeling like something was wrong with me because I didn't know nguo yako ikiraruka, you don't need to walk around with it ikiwa torn. Like you can take a needle and you can mend the clothes, and not even just mending it, you can do it the right way. So home science did play quite a nice part in that. But the point of that tangent was, I Form 2 towards the end of it, I started realizing something was wrong with me. But I didn't realize the extent of what was wrong with me. I just knew something was not, the math wasn't mathing. So tukaingia Form 3, I started getting sick. And by getting sick, I mean my body started refusing everything, everything else. Food ikakuwa shida kula. I used to get this illness, brucellosis. I think they say it's from eating raw meat or milk. And it was true. I used to do raw meat a lot. I used to eat raw meat a lot because back home I was hanging out a lot with the Turukanas and Masais that were living, and Samburus that were living near us, and how they even draw blood and things of that sort. They used to eat. So I used to eat with them. So I do understand what Nikiambiwa I was sick, that type of illness. I knew where it came from. Like it wasn't a shocker. So I started getting sick, and the illness, I was put on antibiotics for some time, and the illness kept adapting. So, like, you were on this antibiotic for maybe a week, but the illness is not going down. Na sasa, you can't be treated with the same antibiotics maybe a few months later because imesha adapt to it. So, that whole year, nikiwa Form 3, I was sick on and off. Nikaingia Form 4, I was still sick on and off. But vile huwa wanasema, when your mental health is not right, it affects everything else. Because kutoka those 2 years, the people that knew me in Form 1, Form 2, and the ones that knew me in Form 3 and 4, they can attest to it. At least I think they can. They can attest to it that there was a change in who I was. Because now I started internalizing a lot of things. I started thinking, why am I always aggressive? Why am I always the person people consider as a bad person? Why am I always in this types of discussions na nini vitu kama hizo. And then unfortunately nikiwa Form 4, I also learned that my dad had passed on. He had not been in my life that much, but he was in my life. Alafu sasa ilikuwa so unfortunate because we had agreed once I turned 18 years I would go to stay with him, with his family na nini in Nakuru. And now I'm almost turning eight. I was 17 years in Form 4. So I'm almost turning 18 years. I'm looking forward to now forming a relationship with my dad. And I'm being told he passed on. So that was another blow. But then again, nikajikomfort na, at the end of the day, I didn't know him that well. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. So ndio huyo mimi nikamaliza Form 4. The good thing was ile tu ya kushinda ukiambiwa over and over again, you perform well, you're going to get what you want in life. You get your academics zikue poa, you're going to get what you want in life. So I did my KCSE, and fortunate enough, I got a nice grade, a grade that would have been covered by JAB, by the government. Back then, by the way, ilikuwa inaitwa JAB, sahii inaitwa KUSIPS. Anyway, back then they used to KUPS. Yeah, back then they used to call it JAB. So nikamaliza vizuri and I got that good grade. But unfortunately, even if JAB was taking care of the first year was not covered. No matter the no matter okay, because you needed first to get an admission number, and then after you've gotten the admission number, you now do apply for help, which now has helped a lot of students because unapata it will take care of some of your fees, and then some cash will be by the government will be sent into your accounts. So nikamaliza hiyo high school na nimepata hiyo grade poa, na sasa sina do za kujoin kampo because you at least the first year you needed that. The reason I don't have the money to join the campus was because most orphanages, they take care of you until you get 18 years. After that, uh, they go back to taking care of the kids that are more vulnerable than you are. So I didn't. Okay, I thought if I got that good grade, they were going to take care of me either way because I'd seen them do that. But sasa vile tu nilimaliza na a month or two after nimemaliza, ndo naambiwa iti the January after KCSE, ndo naambiwa iti the sponsor that used to take care of my education has decided to terminate his contract with tuseme tu contract with me and go to take care of someone else who is more vulnerable. By vulnerable, I mean younger. They used to start with kids as little as 0 years old. So it will depend. I don't know which kids he went with. But sasa nikaambiwa hivyo. Na sayo already uko na ile grade. Like sayo results zimetoka na nini, you have the grade. But you don't have the money to go to campus. So I'm stuck in limbo thinking, why did I even try? Like, why did I even waste all those years? Why did I go through all those issues to get to this point to only be told this is the best you can do? My brother started, I think he thought he was helping. He told me that I can go train with auntie, one of my aunts, how to she had a salon. I can go apprentice there, how to make people's hair, nails, and things of that sort. And at least nisikue maid. I think that's what he said. Nisikue maid ya mtu. At least niende nijitrain, nikuwe na kakos or something. I think he thought he was helping, but at the back of my mind, I was like, there was no point for me to even go to high school if this was where I would end up at the end of the day. Si ningemaliza tu class 8 and then I go do that, because naona kama nime waste 4 years for me to just come back and do something that can be done even without education. And I'm not shaming them. These were just the thoughts that were running in my mind. And then the nun that was in charge of that home decided to give me a small jobo. It used to pay around 2,500 shillings a month. And the condition was atanilipa hiyo do nimfanyie kazi na anilipie computer classes, and ilikuwa tu within the compound ya the Catholic Church. So that was my life. That, like, for a few months, that was my life. And I think upon the now where depression actually started seeping in, because I realized I tried so much and only got so far. Like, say, I was trying to get out of this type of life. I was trying to get to my dreams. I was trying to reach my goals, but all the effort imenileta to this point. Anyway, now, luckily enough, while I was still working for the nun at that Catholic institution, there came this sponsor. Ndio nasema God was working in front of me all the time. He was always ahead of me, taking care of things. There came this lady. Her name was Morenita, and she came specifically. She wanted to specifically sponsor someone who was older. She already had kids she was taking care of, and she wanted someone who was an older person. And so then vile tu huyo Morenita, she's Italian, told the nun, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want to sponsor. Hata wakuka. She brought her to the hospital I was working at. Mbio na akani introduce to her and nini, we talked, and luckily she was happy with who I was, and she decided to sponsor my education in campus. So that's how I got the first fee kujoin um the university I was called under JAB, that is the government. At least nikapata hiyo, but now ilikuwa tu the same battle that I was going through when I was in high school, in primary school, where they are going to take care of your fees, they're going to take care of your tuition, they're going to take care of everything. But sasa, you take care of your shopping, you take care of your fare, you take care of how you're going to get there, and on top of it, you take care of your hostels. So this is how you're going to stay there. That was also another challenge. That was because now I've gone from worrying about fee no sorry fare ilikuwa inanikula ni kitu kama tu so for so, na shopping maybe ya for so ama 6 so ikienda sana, to now worrying about 8,000, like nitatoa wapi 8,000? Hiyo ni fare, hiyo ni upkeep, hiyo ni do ya hostel, na hostel per month huko Chuka, no, it was per semester, ilikuwa around 3k. Then uhesabu food utakula na nini, hiyo kupikiwa, hizo vitu zote, that one was on me. And I don't mean me as my family, me, because at the end of the day unapata you can't rely on them. And like I said, I don't know if it was willingness that was lacking, or they were actually not able to do that. So nikapata hizo do na nini, nikapatiwa uzuri, our family was able to do a small harambe, and we got a few coins za mimi kwenda kuadmitiwa. And we went, I got admitted, I got settled in Chuka University. And after, I think, a week after I got there, ni zile stories za orientation, you taught about the school, you're taking around the school na nini. I got even a hostel, I was able to get a bed, and I thought I got settled in. But at the back of my mind, I kept asking myself, why am I here? Why am I here? I'm happy I'm able to get here, but why am I here? If I have to worry about everything else, why am I here? So already tumetako, like hii anxiety nimekuwa nikibebana nayo juu ya lack of reliability of the people that are raising me. I don't have the basic needs, and the people that are raising me, they're not giving me the stability that a child needs. So nimefika Chuka with a lot of stress, because I was stressed out a lot, and with a lot of anxiety pia, because I was like, hii wiki ikiisha na food do na nini zenye nilikuwa nimebakishiwa, na mbele na nyuma I think I had 3k after everything was taken care of. Mbele na nyuma I had 3k. 3k might look like a lot of money, but remember, you don't have food, you don't have a smartphone. So every time people were sent is a document that they need to print for classes, they need to print for something else, I used to have, like, they need to print and use them, I used to have to actually print them, because sina smartphone. Unajua, at least ukiwa na smartphone, hata kama imetumwa, you can just use your phone, you don't have to print. So I used to have to print, to actually go and print these documents. Unapata even one document inaweza kukula 150 bob, na sasa hiyo uko na around 8 classes. So like, it was just chaotic. Anyway, so worrying about my upkeep, worrying about how comfortable I was going to be at school. And then something else that I'll also mention as we proceed is realizing this is it. Like, this is life. Cause nimetoka ile point yenye naambiwa ukisoma unaenda campus is going to be great, campus is going to be awesome, it's going to be, you're going now to take care of, like, utakuwa sawa, ukifika campus unakuwa bola. We used to see people who went to campus come back to our shags, and we would think these people ni kama watu wametoka majuu, ile perception watu wanakuwaga nayo ya watu wametoka majuu. So mi nimefika Chuka, and kila siku najiuliza, is this it? Is this why I was studying so much? Is this why I was struggling so much to get here? Is this it? But even before we get to that, like I said, you actually ilikuwa mentioned. Before we get to that, nimeingia campus. I don't have anyone who went to campus who sat me down and taught me the things that I was going to face in campus. So mi naingia nikiwa green kabisa, green, and I don't have, nilikuwa naita nini, sina smartphone, I don't have a good electronic phone that I can actually use. Yenye nilikuwa nayo ilikuwa kabambe, na hata kabambe yenyewe unless like hata ukifinya, like it was an old kabambe. It was just, I don't know, I don't even know how I can put it into words. So nimeingia nikiwa green, sijachanuliwa, sina anything, and then I'm realizing campus was oversold to us. Like it wasn't what it was hyped up to be. And something else I also forgot to mention, when I was in high school, I always said I didn't want to go to a public university. I don't know why, but I was like, no, I don't want to go to a public university. God, please help me. I don't want to go to a public university. If possible, let me go to a USIU. That was my dream school. Let me go to USIU. If possible, let me go to Strathmore. I didn't know Strathmore that much, but I knew it was an awesome school. Let me go to Strathmore. But ile nilikuwa nataka sana ni USIU. Even my documents zinaitwaje, from high school zenye mnaandika sijui bachelors in whatever in this, I used to write USIU. I wanted to go to USIU. So mi nimefika Chuka, it's a public university. Class moja mnakaa kama makondo, like it's 3,000 people in one class. I was just shocked. I think nilikuwa kwa hiyo culture shock. And then I wasn't even taught how to read the timetable. So one day we were eventually given our timetable of the classes that we are supposed to go to. And me, I'm expecting a timetable like the one you used to have in high school, where imechorwa Monday, kuna English, after English, kuna math, after math, ni break, after break, ni sijui home science, after hiyo, ni sijui Kiswahili, after that break, ivo. I used to think hiyo ndio the type of timetable I'm going to get. Tell me why I'm getting codes ati sijui zero ilikuwa imeandikwa iko E00 sijui what, iko class sijui S23, na hata wajaandika class, imeandikwa tu econ something S23, sijui comp something S40 what, sijui nini iko B sijui BS what. I'm sat there looking at this thing, and I didn't even realize I started seeing teardrops on the timetable, on the paper. Kumbe I had started crying because I was like, what the hell is this? Why am I even here? Why am I even in this school? I don't want to be here. And I don't want to be here initially was I don't want to be in this school. That is what I thought I was saying. But in the real sense, I didn't want to be alive. Like, I don't want to be here. This is not what I was working so hard for. Anyway, now I was also in a relationship with someone your time. And the funny thing is, even going through all these things, this person didn't know what I was going through. And he was sort of good to me. Sort of. So the first, when I'm here, Nico blocked, I don't know what the timetable is saying, I'm starting to cry. I called him and I'm telling him, I'm holding this timetable. I don't know what it is. And I just started crying. Ile, inaitwa kuball. Like I'm at a barrier or something. I just started crying. My body started feeling weak. My chest started feeling like it was going to explode. I just started crying. I don't even remember him talking me through that timetable thing. I just started crying. I cried. Eventually, he told me to just find someone who we share classes with and see if they can help me out, because I didn't even have ati ile naweza sema nimpigie picha na simu ndio inaitwaje, aniambie which were my classes, because he wanted to help but I couldn't do that. So he just told me, you go find someone who is able to who you share classes with, and maybe they can help you out. I did find someone who was sharing classes with, who I was sharing classes with, but I didn't want to impose on them. So what I used to do is follow them. So every time nikiona ameamka, uzuri tulikuwa the same dorm. So nikiona ameamka, I was like, are you going to class? And if she said yes, I would just follow her to class. Vitu kama hizo, and we eventually became friends. So your point, when I started crying kwa your timetable, that is when I realized, like, eventually that is when everything hit me. And I don't know how I can put this. That is when I realized I needed to do something, because remember nimekuwa niki-internalize, been having internal dialogues, internal thoughts, and they weren't good ones, since I was in form 3. So hii ni kama 3 years later. Yes, this was like 3 years later. That's when I realized I needed to face what was happening in my brain. I needed to face, to come into, to face myself. Let me just put it like that. I needed to face myself. So mimi huyo, nimeanza classes, nimeanza internal thoughts. So what I started doing, immediately after, I think not even immediately after, a few weeks after that nini of me crying while trying to read the timetable, I called this guy that I was in a relationship with, and I told him I didn't see us working out. And I was very blunt with him. I told him I don't know what is wrong. I don't know what is going on with me, but I can't, I don't think I can be in a relationship right now because I am not myself. I don't know. Like kabisa sijui what is wrong. I and he wanted to help. He was, like I said, he was good to me. He wanted to help, so he's asking if something is wrong, you just tell me and then we sort it out. And I'm telling him I don't know what's wrong. So I don't even know where to start explaining that this is the problem I'm facing. Please help me out. So nikatoka nikamwambia hivyo na nini. He got furious. He thought I was seeing someone in campus, and I was like, seriously? Anyway, na tukaachana, and I remember crying. Aki, I broke, inaitwaje? I broke apart. Mimi inaitagwaje? I broke down. Yes, I broke down over that relationship because I really didn't want to lose to lose that guy. So I remember crying and crying over that. And when I was crying over ending the relationship with him, I started looking at my life in depth. In depth. So ilinipeleka back to where everything started. And that is when I lost my mom. Because I remember from then onwards, nothing ever made sense to me. Nothing, like everything was just chaotic. Hauna stability, watu wanakutusi, watu wanakubuli, I remember there was even a time when I was young. I was coming from school nikiwa kwa uwanja fulani, and this boy came out of nowhere, and he kicked me in my stomach. You hata si ati I remember, I've never forgotten it. He kicked me in my stomach. Na saa hiyo, I was so tiny. I was, I think, in class 3 or 4. But these were daily occurrences when I was in primary school. So I'm coming here. I'm coming to campus. I'm now in Chuka. and realizing I'm so broken that I don't even know what is wrong with me. Like I'm so broken. Everything. Nikianza kulia about, let's say today I'm crying about my mom and losing her and realizing the role that she was playing in my life. Naanza kulia about something else. Like you start crying because you're mourning, because now I think eventually I started mourning my mom when I was in campus. I'm crying because of her and I'm feeling anger towards her because I'm like, why did you even die when I was that young? Couldn't you have waited until I was at least grown to understand this concept? Then you unaanza tena kulia about, like unahuzunika tena about why did your dad not even stay in your life even when your mom was alive? Wasn't he present? Why wasn't he why wasn't he? Hizo vitu zote, you start crying about that. Okay, in the process of crying about that, you start wondering, why was I even born in this family? Because ningezaliwa in a good family, maybe I would have had a better life. Something else, before I started crying now in Chuka, I had the opportunity to meet with a certain chick, and she's apparently a cousin, a long distance cousin. I don't know. I do not know. I just know we are related somewhere down the line. And this chick was with her, who I thought was her sister, but walikuwa wanashare jina moja. So tuna hang out now na nini, we are talking here and there. And then eventually I was like, why are you people sisters? We got admitted the same day. Why are you people sisters and you're sharing the same name? Like, if let's say my name was Wangoi and my sister is also Wangoi. So I didn't understand that. And this chick later on aliniambia, because we're sisters nani, we're the same family, when this other one was present. But this chick that was a friend of mine told me later on that the other chick was actually an orphan. Her mom passed on while she was very young, and her uncle, now the father of this chick I was talking to, ni uncle ya huyo dem, took her in while she was young. Wamelelewa pamoja wote as sisters. And looking, because that time I got to spend with them, I would see them get the same treatment from their family, like wanatreatiwa vizuri, they're taken care of. Ukiangalia nguo zenye wamebaiwa, ukiangalia like hizo vitu zote, the relationship they are having. And then when they were brought to the school, walifanyiwa shopping kubwa, kila mtu yake yake, like everything was just so done so nicely. The type of relationship that this chick has with her uncle and aunt, hawaiti eti uncle and aunt, ni mom and dad. So I'm like, so this is how orphans are treated out here. So everything that we went through wasn't necessary, because every time, like I said, every time someone would do something, I would think, oh, maybe it's because I'm off and I'm an orphan. I mean, I don't have a mom to take care of this. Like, so una excuse a lot of behavior, a lot of rudeness, because at the end of the day, you're like, it's what orphans are supposed to go through. Because hata hiyo time ndio tulikuwa tunasoma zile nini za mama mwenye wivu, stories za mama mwenye wivu. We read about kina Cinderella and wanaitwa aje, Snow White, such stories. So you're thinking, even when someone mistreats you, even when someone degrades you, even when someone addresses you in a way that a child should not be addressed, it is all in line because you're an orphan. But yeah, nafika Chuka the first week, and in our interaction, I realized kumbe orphans can be treated as human beings. I think that also snapped something into place in my mind, that I didn't deserve everything that I was put through as a child. And kwa hizo details zote have not gone into depth, because there's a chick we're supposed to do an episode with. I'm hoping she will come through. We do that episode. We're going to go into depth about being orphaned and what we went through. Anyway, so hiyo ilini, I think hata hiyo ilini push towards facing my demons and the things that I had gone through when I was hiyo period yote yenye nimekuwa orphaned. So now nimefika ile nini ya kulia. I used to cry in madhogodhanio. Like unaanza kulia about one thing, by the time you're done crying hours later, you're crying about something totally different. Alafu, the more you're crying about these things, the more you're remembering other things that you should cry about. Like hadi unakuwa exhausted, like when will I stop crying? So what I did, I think it was subconsciously, but what I did, I decided, if today I'm going to cry about my mom, I'm going to cry about my mom. And even when I'm crying about her, I have to classify what I'm crying about on that day. Am I crying about her death? Am I crying about her illness? Because that's also something else, that I saw her being ill and everything. Am I going to cry about feeling like she abandoned me? Am I going to cry about feeling that like she had the choice of dying? Am I going to cry, like I have to specify leo nalilia kitu fulani, so that tomorrow I can cry over something else, so that the day after that I can cry over something else. Nakwambia semester yote, the first semester ya Chuka, which is about 4 months, I think I cried every day. Every day. And I used to do it religiously because I was like, I have to get over this anger. I have to get rid of this aggression. I have to start seeing life better than the position I was, like, from where I was seeing it from. So unapata, I dedicated every evening after classes and during dinner time, because either way I didn't have food most of the days. So watu wakikula their dinners na nini, I used to go to the washrooms za Chuka University, hiyo side ya girls. And the way these washrooms were organized, ukiingia kulikuwa na kama corridor katikati. On the left hand side, yeah, depending with which door you came in, on the left hand side kuna your wall was the toilets. On the other side, the right hand side, ilikuwa bathrooms where the showers and everything was. And then in between kulikuwa na stations za kufua manguo, which were sinks, basically sinks where people would wash their clothes ama whatever they needed to wash. Hizo sinks, alafu you used to do it while you're standing. So I used to go there every, probably ilikuwa between 6, because I don't remember it being that dark, na sikuwa nataka niwashiwe stima because someone can see me wakiwa nje kwa giza, they can see through the window what I was doing. So I used to go there during that period before stima ziwashwe, choose a sink, and then I had a very cute washcloth, very nice one. I used to have it and I would hold it, and then I would start crying. I would cry na nile unalia na usilie na sauti ndio watu wasisikie. So sorry, I used to go there and cry for like 30 minutes, 1 hour every day. I used to cry. Unaona ile kulia, unalia from the heart. Ukitoka hapo, you're heaving like a baby. I used to cry. Every day I had a topic that I was crying about. I used to cry, and I don't think I was crying to God, because even then I used to, I think at some point I dedicated some days where I was crying about God. Like, why would you subject me to this type of life? Anyway, so I used to cry nikiwa hapo kwa sink. The reason I used to do that kwa hiyo karibu na hiyo sink was every time someone would walk in, or I would hear their footsteps while they were coming in, I would pretend I was washing my face. So ile washcloth yenye nilikuwa nayo ya kupanguza machozi, I would use it to wash my face. They come in, they do their business na nini, wakimaliza wanaenda, I go back to crying. nalia. Hiyo semester yote I think ilikuwa hivyo. I used to cry. I cried about my grandfather, I cried about my uncles, I cried about my aunties. And I'm not making them to be the bad person. I'm just saying the relationship or lack thereof that was happening, hizo ndio the things I used to cry about. So I used to, unapata sometimes I remember kama hiyo time ya Mrs. Getao teaching us how to do pads. I'm like, I do have aunties. They should have taught me this. Why did they teach me this? Why did I have to go and choose to do a course like home science so that I can learn how to do things the right way when I have relatives who should have taught me how to do this? And on top of this, now I'm in my train of thought. On top of this, why did my mom even have to die at the end of the day if there was no one to take care of me? Why would she die? Why didn't she even leave? Why, like, hiyo tu ndio ilikuwa hiyo, why all along ndio ilikuwa it was hiyo swali ndio ilikuwa inafanya nilie sana, because I was like, this thing is not making sense. Remember, I still don't know I'm depressed. Like, I don't know. Nilikuja kujua later on that was depression. I'm just thinking I'm going through life on its own. So during this crying of mine, I came to the realization that there was no point in living. Yeah, ilikuwa, I think, almost towards the end of the semester, I came to realize there was no point in living. But I don't mean living, I mean living, being alive. And I started contemplating, like, even when I was crying, nanini, kuna time I was crying about how my brothers, my sister will feel if I passed on, nanini. So I was even mourning myself when I was still alive, because I knew eventually I was going to end everything. So I started thinking about the different ways I could do it. And na haikuwa dedicated ati leo nakaa chini nifikirie all the ways. No, it was like na watu wanasemaga you can drink poison, but people also say it's quite a painful death. So, and I'm terrified of pain. So I'm like, no, that is not the best alternative. Let me see. So, like, hiyo ilikuwa constant thing that was in my head all the time, every day. If I had the opportunity, I was just thinking of the different ways to get done with everything. So unapata, watch some movies, people are talking about using razors to cut your wrists, but mi ni muoga. Sasa hiyo uoga ya uchungu and uoga ya kujikata, that one I couldn't do it. Alafu I was like, na nikiweza kukata mkono side moja, then nishindwe kukata hii ingine, because si mkono umeshakata, how are you going to able to kata the other hand? So hiyo nikaona that one might not work. So I started thinking, na hizi stories za kujirusha from a building, naonaga watu wakisema you can do that. Is it possible to do it? And I remember one time we were discussing hiyo ya kujirusha from a building, and with a friend, and this friend was like, if I ever got to do that. No, we were just talking, and then I asked her, what if you jump and you don't die? Like, you've already jumped, umegonga chini, but you're still alive. And she was like, jokingly, she just said, I'll just crawl. Nita crawl polepole nirudi hadi mahali nilijirushia, and I jump again. And we laughed about it, but in my head I was like, okay, that one might not work. I need something that is definite, because I don't want to risk it, and then I still stay alive, na sasa nimekaa nikiwa alive nikiwa kiwete ama nikiwa vegetable or something. I don't want that. I just want something definite. So nikatoka hapo nikaenda, hizi ni a span of it's not a day or two, it's a span of weeks. These are the constant thoughts in my brain. But huko nje, I'm interacting with people, we are laughing, we're enjoying life. I went to think about nikaanza kufikiria about, sorry about that, chani disconnect to, okay. Sawa, nikaanza kufikiria about jumping in front of cars, but hata hiyo ilini discourage because I was like sometimes gari hazikugongagi zinakumaliza. Alafu tena kitu ilikuwa inanibona hiyo ni if you jump at the place where there are no people, you might get hit, yes, and you might, huyo derea anaweza hit and run, so you're left there dying while you're just alone, there's no one else, and you might not even die, and me, I need to get done with this whole thing. Then I started thinking, na ukijirusha kwa waterfall, but I was terrified because I was thinking na ukijirusha, and then like when you go underwater and then you start getting scared and things of that sort. And I nikaona hiyo, that one might not be ideal because then one thing I didn't want ni ile ujirusha alafu ukose kusurface, so your people will never even know that you're dead. I wanted something that was definite and done with. Na bado like relatives na nini, they come, they take care of cremating you or whatever, and then like your chapter ifungwe ikue completely done. So I also went, I started thinking, I'm still crying every day for like 1 hour. I'm still crying about different things. Even when when I'm crying about myself and the challenges, I'm also crying about my brothers and what they were going through. Like I remember there was a time where my grandfather was taking out a wooden axe, and he wanted to kill our eldest brother, and the entire inaitwaje? The entire village was there watching, and no one was even coming to intervene or to help him. And each time I think around 8 or 9 years, roughly there. So when I'm crying as an adult, 18 years, remember, when I'm crying then, I'm crying about no one coming to help my brother when that thing was happening. Like everything that was happening when I was a child, I'm crying about those things and the helplessness that I felt. And I'm realizing that there's no point to it. This thing needs to end because there's no point at all. There's no point to it. So nikamaliza semester ya kwanza still thinking about all those things. Nikaenda shags, nikaenda home, I was able to gather a few coins this time round. Na niliweza. No. I don't think I did. Niliweza kweli? I don't remember hiyo nini sana, but I remember coming back for the second semester and feeling better because I knew now the best way to end everything was through taking pills. Remember, I was still sick. I was still getting sick on and off. So kwa pharmacy na nini ya shule nilikuwa najulikana because either way I have to go get antibiotics to be able to survive without feeling like my chest was going to fall apart because of brucellosis. According to what they had said, ilikuwa imeattack my chest area, if I'm not wrong. Either I don't remember ilikuwa imeattack wapi, but the pain that I was feeling was from my chest. So at the back of my mind, even when I'm coming back to school, nanini, I'm just feeling like a little bit better because I know now the best way ya kumaliza everything was like I had set my mind on that. But still, I was hesitant. Remember, nimereziwa na nuns. I'm Catholic, so I still don't want to die. Then niende hell. Because I was like, I can't suffer when I'm alive and still suffer when I'm dead. So I'm still contemplating. These are things I'm thinking about. I know at the back of my mind, this is what I want to do. But I'm still contemplating like how can I do this without actually going to hell. Anyway, so there was this time tulikuwa tunaanika manguo place kulikuwa na hizi miti za kayafa, and then kayafa, I think it's called kayepo, I don't know in English what it's called. And then this thing that looked like a spider and a scorpion into like merged into one bit iliniuma while I was hanging my clothes. And I remember feeling very happy because I was like, finally, God has answered my prayer. Like, this is not me making the decision on my end. So, nikaanua manguo zangu, I folded them, and then I dressed in a certain it's a nightgown because it was really long. I used to love, and I was like, if I die in this, hata watu wakinitoa kesho na nini, I'll still look at least I'll be looking good. Tell me why I had to wake up in the morning. Like, mbona naamka? I was so pissed to wake up that morning. I was so pissed. Anyway, that one didn't work. Hata sikuvura ama sikupata anything. Hata mali niliniuma hata hapakuwa na marks or anything. Nilijikuna kuna for a few days, but there wasn't anything there. Anyway, so bado naendelea na shule, naendelea my grades na nini, the performance was low. Everything was just not working out. But remember, at the back of my mind, I'm like, either way, I'm not going to be here. So I don't care. So nimetoka kwa mtu wa A na B's to D's. I was getting D's too. Anyway, so this day, it came about, I was talking to different relatives, nanini, including one of my brothers, telling them how school was getting tough for me, mostly because I wasn't able to keep up with everyone else and their smartphones. And not even in terms of a social life, niyo ya shule, classes, lecturers are sending notes to people's phones. Nah, I'm not able to get them because hakuna lecturer akona time. If he can send them to a WhatsApp group and everyone is able to access it, ana ile time ya kutafuta your email to send you your notes because you don't have a smartphone. So I'm not able to keep up with people like that. And then bado stories are food. I'm not getting food. I remember several times for like a week or let's say 3 to 4 days, I would eat bananas and strong tea for dinner. And lunch sometimes kama sitapata beshte wa kunibaia lunch because sina do mbele na nyuma, and when you call home everyone hana do because they are doing this, they are doing the next, so you're just there, you're just left there to take care of yourself. So food ni shida. When it comes to academics, you're not performing well. When it comes to keeping up with what the lecturers are teaching, you're not what is it called, you don't have the money to even print out notes, to even do zinaitwaje revisions, vitu kama hizo. And remember also, even while I'm this depressed, I still I'm still a bright student. So poor performance na nini, it wasn't, yes, I didn't care about it so much, but it wasn't who I was. So hii tuko 1.2, tuko first year, second semester. So eventually I got to this day, nilikuwa kwa dorm peke yangu, just sitting there relaxing, and my medication was isharing. So I was like, I can go and refill, get more, but zilikuwa antibiotics. Sikuwa najua ati hata ukimeza antibiotics ngapi nothing will happen to you. Ama itakuwa severe, I didn't know. I didn't know. I don't even know if it's true. I don't know. Anyway, so nikasema, because I'm going to need a refill. I still wasn't feeling well. I'm going to still need a refill. Let me go get them. Hiyo time walikuwa nipatia about a month worth of tablets. Zilikuwa zinaitwa, they used to be green. Yeah, hizo antibiotics I don't remember zilikuwa zinaitwaje. They used to alternate between nani red yote ama green yote, but I don't remember the names. So for like a month, because at the end of the day I'm not getting well, and kuna an antibiotic that would have helped me, but I was allergic to it. So nikasema acha niende ni refill, and immediately I get my refill, I'm going to take these pills. So while I'm walking to the pharmacy, I'm thinking, will 5 of them do? Ama will 10? Ama I just take the entire dosage? Acha nione. So mimi nikatembea vizuri. I went, I talked to the nurse who was there at the pharmacy, na akaniandikia prescription. He had my ilikuwa inaitwa medical history, so he knew. Akanipatia, and I went to the pharmacy to get my pills. But the unfortunate thing, I don't know if the person who was at the pharmacy alikuwa mgonjwa. My thinking is he had some sort of illness, cause mali sana naweza semaje, tulikuwa tunaenda una turn on your right, yes right, kulikuwa na mlango, then ukiingia kwa hiyo mlango, like immediately tu umeturn uingie kwa mlango, you would find his desk, mali unampatia the note and then he gets you your dosage, your pills. So tell me why nikienda tu kuturn hivo nimpatie the inaitwaje, the note, the doctor's note, nilimpata kama amesimama hapo. He wasn't blinking, he wasn't moving, like he was just standing there, and you'd have thought everything was okay, except he was peeing himself. So me, even when I'm there looking at him trying to wave, alafu unaona the weird thing ni amesimama kama ameface mlango, like he was about to get out, na wewe umekuja tu mbio kama umeturn, immediately that is the sight that you're finding. So niko hapo, I'm like, is he okay? What is going on? And then I'm thinking, because I was still a small person, if this guy is falling and then he falls on me, what is going to happen? And then the way he was standing and staring at the door, ukisimama hapo inakaa ni kama ni wewe anaangalia. So I just turned pole pole. I turned back to where I was coming from. Me and my note, I went back to the dorm. I never went for my pills. So I think that basically is what I went through nikiwa depressed. So let's go to the other part. Yeah, no, that one was on the suicidal ideations na nini and how they came about. But depression is still going on. Tulianzia na anxiety, then ikaingia for the first semester ya chuka, I think I got into severe depression, ndio ikafika kuwa suicidal. So let me now take you through the journey where I started now building my mental health back. Thank you for listening to the Y.A.N.G podcast. Please subscribe, share it, comment, let us know your thoughts on what we've discussed. See you in the next